You're building the empire
and we'll help you protect it.
because even the most powerful women
Still have trust issues.
it's a strange time. These are strange times that we're having.
It's some strange happenings
Yeah,
here
yeah.
now, this time, and this season of life.
I'm definitely glad to be a part because it's caused me to really pay attention to some key things. But mostly today, I want to talk about this great wealth transfer.
That's so important. Now, will your family lose its inheritance?
We want to make sure that there's estimated 84 million or 84
Trillion.
changing hands, changing generations, and will we be ready?
Will we be ready? 84 trillion is changing hands. Are you ready? That's the question for our viewers, our listeners.
Yeah.
84 trillion is changing hands. Are you ready?
This is the largest wealth transfer in history. And so let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Welcome back to Trust Issues, where money meets mindset
Power meets protection.
and legal meets legacy.
That's right.
Yes, I am one of your hosts, attorney Urenia Ricks-Johnson, estate planning attorney and founder of Ricks & Associates. And I have my co-host,
Erica Hall with EH Wealth Advisors, here to give you some financial know-how.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we're excited today. And I want to start today off with a number.
What's that?
And the number is $83 trillion.
With a T.
Okay. Trillion.
Yeah.
Not billion, not million, but trillion.
Right.
Now, this represents the amount of wealth expected to transfer from one generation to the next over the coming decades.
Wow. That's a lot of money.
The largest wealth transfer in human history.
All right.
But here's the question nobody's asking. Will your family actually receive it?
Yeah.
Or will it be lost with confusion, poor planning, taxes, the probate court, or better yet, silence?
I hate it. I hate it. And that's why this conversation matters so much, because lack of knowledge. The real story isn't just about money. It's about whether families are prepared, whether families have prepared their beneficiaries to inherit the wealth. But not only, how do you prepare them? You prepare them to steward. If you can steward what you have now, then you'll be ready to steward when more comes.
And the greatest threat to your legacy, it isn't taxes. It's silence.
It's silence, not sharing the information. So listen, this is another conversation that families aren't having. Like, I just think that we just allow so much wealth to pass through our fingers, and we can prevent that.
And we can prevent it. And I think most of the time it's the silence of just assuming that my children know what to do. Second of all, it's just, I just don't want to have this conversation because it's just too difficult to have.
Yeah.
Or it's just the fact that I feel like I can have it at a later time.
Yeah, at EH Wealth Advisors, we see this quite often because it's private. It's private, and one of the things that we're trying to promote, that we are promoting now, is beneficiary meetings.
Beneficiary meetings. And
Financial
tell us
planning.
what would a beneficiary meeting from EH Wealth Advisors look like?
Well, listen, it's all about what they need to know.
Okay.
It's about promoting the stewardship. It's about saying that the conversation and the thought about what you're going to get isn't just about money. It's about knowing what to do and already having some plans in place before the windfalls happen.
Yes.
Because as I talked about before, windfalls, when they come, all of the prudent things that going back to school, all of those things that could really help you leverage, they go. You don't remember those things. You can think about all the things that you want to purchase, all of the luxury living or things that you want to experience.
I'm living my best life.
Yes. Like, do you know what I could do with this money?
Right. But we don't understand that stewardship is actually living your best life.
It is. It's definitely taking care of building some habits, building some habits today that are going to create and build the capacity for more.
Yes.
Right? I always talk about this word capacity, but habits build capacity. They help you to, because parents will say, well, I don't want to be, this is what I hear, I don't want to be worth more dead than I am alive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them counting my money.
Why you in my pocket?
They don't need to know yet. And while I understand that those are some real concerns, listen, I understand. But we can have a strategic conversation. And so what that conversation looks like is we're talking about different types of accounts and why we have these different, why things are why there is a life insurance policy somewhere and what it's for and what they're proposed to do or what they're supposed to do or how they fit into the proposal. And so we may not give them specific numbers, but we do let them know the details of what their role is.
And that helps to build, and there goes that word again, capacity of your family members, because they may have never even thought about these things in this manner, but you're actually helping them. By being silent, you're not helping them. Because they don't know, your children don't know what exists, what documents are, who the advisors are,
to talk to,
what the family values are. And just know that by providing this information, you're actually instilling family values. We think it's just, don't do this, don't cross the street, make sure you look both ways before you cross the street, make sure you do this, and that. But these are values.
Listen, you can either transfer wisdom or you can transfer wealth before you transfer the wealth, or your heirs will learn expensive lessons the hard way.
Yes, and it's millions of, and I say this all the time, there's millions of $1 bills or millions of dollars within your state because of poor planning or the family not talking about it, and the children not even knowing that they're heirs. They don't even know that there's money out there. And who randomly just checks, some people do, but who randomly just checks their state site to see if they were an heir?
If more people heard about it, they probably would, because I know I go in and I check.
Periodically, yes.
And also, if you know how you have people who have grown wealth, and you may know that this account is sitting somewhere, and you know that it's there, and we may check it more often with fraud and things like that. But you have these accounts sitting over there, but you don't plan on touching them. Well, the financial industry passed a law a few years ago called Know Your Client.
Okay.
Right? Know Your Client. And that means that there has to be an annual communication with the client from the financial institution. And so sometimes they'll send out a notice to your home to say, you need to call this number and just verify that you're still alive. You need to call this number and push one to say that
$1.
Right. Just push one. And so if you don't respond, guess what they've started doing? Sending those accounts to the state.
The state, because it's unclaimed now.
If you don't respond, it used to be that after a person has passed away, that it would go to unclaimed
after a certain period of time where it wasn't claimed.
Yes.
But now, like you said, if it's not claimed, or let's say that you have moved and now you were supposed to get that last check in, but you were just like, okay, I left that job, they ain't said to me nothing.
Yeah.
But now you've moved.
Yeah.
And that's where all that property that is not claimed is there.
So with these new safeguards or know your client where there's no communication, then you may have things that you have identified or you have in mind that I'm going to give these to my beneficiaries or my heirs, but because you haven't been in communication with the financial institution, it's gone.
So you could have had beneficiaries on that account, right? But if it goes to the state of Michigan, by law, it's no longer with that institution. So guess what? Those beneficiaries don't stand.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're protecting those assets by, I don't know, overcoming those family secrets.
Yes. We have to break the silence.
Yes.
We have to break
having
that
those
silence.
discussions. Yeah.
Yes. And let's talk about something that should concern every family. Many adult children assume an inheritance is coming. Many parents assume there won't be much left to leave. Nobody is talking to each other.
And that's what is creating what I call phantom wealth.
Oh, wow.
You think
I'm an heir.
whatever it may be, it may be a family home. You know, but you aren't familiar with what's happening with the taxes. If the taxes have been paid, if the house is if the mortgage has been paid, there's no communication.
There's no communication. And then I think sometimes you also think that, and I've had a lot of clients too, because they didn't have the conversation and they end up moving into a house now that their parents had.
Yeah.
They have, even if they're adults,
Yeah.
they're used to the parents paying the bills.
Yes.
And when you get in that mindset and you don't have the financial literacy, you will think that it's something wrong with everybody else but you.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it happen. I've seen where adults act like children when it comes to this family home, and not even thinking the fact that if you don't pay it, how is it going to get paid?
How is it going to get paid?
But because you never had to pay it before.
Yeah.
You never had to. You may have stayed in the house with mama or grandma, and you stayed in there all that time. Mama or grandma never required you to pay anything.
Yeah.
You may have even had a good job doing your thing, but because that responsibility was never shown to you or never happened when Big Mama passed away or Dad passes away, guess what happens? You're in a state of shock, and you have to make sure that because you did not have that conversation, now here's the real conversation. This mortgage hasn't been paid in 4 months.
Right.
They put a foreclosure sale on this house, and now you're in panic mode because you never talked about it with mama, daddy, grandma. Y'all never had a conversation that this is $900 a month. It's not gonna pay itself. I pay it.
It's so taboo. It's so taboo. So I want to ask you out there, if you have any financial information, share it with your family.
Share it. Don't hold it.
You don't have to give them all the details. You don't have to tell them how much is in the account. You don't have to tell them what the value of something, but give them some piece of information so that drop them little nuggets here and there so that you are building some awareness of what we actually have.
Yes, you have to communicate. And we talked about this before. If an estate plan is in your head, and guess what happens? And it's not written down, then guess what happens when you pass away?
It dies.
In your head.
With you. Yeah.
So it's in your head, it stayed in your head, and it remains in your head even after you pass away.
Right. I'm going to say another one. They say, I'm wealthy to the children, but you're not.
Right. Yes. You have nothing.
You have nothing. Yes.
You have nothing.
Yes.
We're wealthy.
Yeah.
You have nothing. But that mentality is, and I get it, there is a certain way to teach your children stewardship.
Yeah.
In a way where, because, sometimes if you tell, it's like giving a baby a brand new car. Even though that baby is entitled to that car, unless you teach that baby, let that baby grow up and teach them how to drive. But guess what? You still have to teach them, though.
Yeah.
You still have to go through that process.
All that's required. That's a really good analogy because I remember I knew a young man who his family member left him a vehicle before he was even old enough to drive, and it was a classic. It was a classic that the family member was restoring, and all he could think about was this car, to the detriment of not getting a driver's license.
Oh wow.
Don't know anything about insurance, and the law of what's required to even before you even take this vehicle
Put it on the road.
out on the road, driver's training, all that kind of stuff, and because of that, not having a valid driver's license is a downfall of a lot of or an expired, or so,
Not
or
valid.
not paying the tickets, the simple downfalls, but knowing the benefit of making sure that an account balance stays positive, paying those bills on time, knowing where to go to look up the taxes on the property to make sure that the property taxes are being paid on time, or that
Yes.
they're being paid. I thought about something too. Have you experienced this where people will inherit a home and they don't want to notify the tax office
Because they don't want it to
of the
be
new
changed
ownership?
from homestead and the taxes. But then also understanding that most of the time people don't want to change it until something happens.
Yeah.
Right? Where, you may be getting at the point where you need some assistance. You can't get assistance because it's not in your name.
Yeah.
Or if you want to sell it. At this point, this is an asset. This is something that you feel like was left to you
Yeah.
by your family member. Now you're trying to sell it, and you don't have the authority to do so. Now you got to backtrack and try to get that authority. And then if you don't want the taxes to change, you want to fly under the radar. That's what I call it. Fly under the radar. Where you just don't want to make no changes. You just want to keep things constant.
Yeah.
But also understand, but if anything triggers that,
You're gonna
don't
have some
make
problems.
payments.
Yeah.
If there's an issue with you trying to get some repairs done and you need some type of assistance or anything connected with the property where you need some type of help with, you can't
You
get
want
it
to
unless it's
leverage
in your
the asset.
name.
Yeah. You want to leverage the asset and pull some equity out.
It's all kinds of things that
Yeah.
you cannot do, but making sure that you have those conversations. And then when you don't understand it, when you have those conversations, then I've seen it actually help with the grieving process of individuals.
Yeah, it does.
Knowing that
It
I had
does.
one family member that they were coming to my office to administer stuff, and it was like they were sad, but they were also glad because it was almost like they were just like, that was just dad. They knew that he was going to make sure that they was taken care of.
Yeah.
They knew that he was going to have instructions for them. That was
That's
who
good.
he was.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't a surprise, even though that they were sad.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a surprise that everything was laid out. That he made it normal for them to understand that I'm not going to be here all the time.
Make it normal.
I'm not going to be here forever, but I want to make sure that what I give you is lasting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you silence. I'm going to continue to give you my voice.
That's good. That's good because I think that promotes response. That tells me that gives me a mantle that I got to do the same thing.
Yes.
Now that dad, family member, mom trusted me, laid everything out, I'm gonna do the same.
Exactly. But you're teaching principle. Remember when we talked about how this is like the legacy transfer, and a lot of times we think it's about money and but it's about values.
It definitely,
that value of it made them feel so important that their father valued them so much that he left them these instructions.
Yeah. So let's talk about it on the flip side. Because when I hear people say, I had to figure it out. I had to build this on my own. I had to whatever, they can do the same. I just think that's so selfish.
It's selfish, and you have to understand that experience does not have to be your children's teacher. They can learn from your experience.
Why?
Why would I want to make sure that they experience the same things that I experienced if it was a difficult situation. I want my generation to be better than me.
Yeah, you do.
That's what legacy is about.
It
It's
is.
about establishing that foundation. So the hurdles that I already fought those giants.
Yeah.
I already overcame this. So then that way, you're going to have different struggles. You're going to have different things. But if I can eliminate some of those things that you have to face, then I'm putting you in. This is the best gift that I can give you to continue on. That's the great wealth transfer. It's not about the money. It's about the information, the clarity, and education that we give to our children, children's children.
Children's children. Yes.
Children. That's what we're
right.
giving them. That's what
a
we're
good
doing.
man leaves an inheritance. And it's not just about the money. Right. So which leads me to think to another point that I always got to pull out of my bag of pet peeves.
Okay.
And that
what is getting on your nerves?
Let me tell you. To me, the legacy that I have been trying to establish with my children is that you don't have to you don't have to start from scratch. Even if it's not just with money, it's about relationships. If I have a relationship with an attorney, if I have an accountant, if I have a doctor, whatever, a business that can support you as my attorney is your attorney. My relationship is your relationship. That you can't put a price on having that kind of access to advisors, that circle of know-how, because we perish for lack of knowledge, right? And so when you can tap into that, you don't even realize the stature of being able to just call up an attorney, just call up an advisor, just call up someone and just say, hey, I was thinking about doing this. And so that is the other part of the beneficiary meeting, is especially if it's a part of our client's family, letting them know that your children are part of your planning. They're part of your estate, because the one thing that we don't want to happen is you did all this work, all this saving, all this building, all this degree getting, all of this learning,
accumulation, all
of that accumulation, all those relationships that you've been establishing and building, and in one felt swoop, because all I know how to do is spend. That's the extent of my financial literacy. Is I know where to get the best of the best. Gone.
And to me, that's the ultimate networking. That's the ultimate setting your children up for advancement, is providing that structure, providing that network, sharing your network, and also making them aware at that meeting that your people are my people.
Yeah.
So not just
that's the
overall.
key. That's the key. Okay, so I never did get to my pet peeve.
Okay.
So my pet peeve is when they don't want it. They don't want it. They're like, I want to forge my own way. I want to do my own thing. I want to do it my way. And, I think about the prodigal son, and I think about my children. I think about me as a kid, and being strong-willed and strong-minded and wanting to do my own thing. And I would think about, if my family had a farm or a family store, would I want to stick around and work the farm? Would I want to stick around and work the store? Because that's the expectation. That's why we had all them kids, so we can have some workers. Right, so we can have some workers, so we can have someone to transfer this wealth that we're building to. I think that this is a natural innate something within us as human beings, that we want to duplicate ourselves. We want to. This is our closest thing to, other than salvation, and glorification. This is the closest thing to immorality.
Yes.
Being able to pour ourselves into another human being, and so that they can go further, so that they can do more. And so when they reject it, that's one of my pet peeves.
Yeah, and
They're like, I don't want it.
And I also think that sometimes it's about presentation, and sometimes they just need to kind of learn on their own. And then I just believe that sometimes it just ends up being circling back. And then we have to be in a position where it's not I told you so type of thing, but just still be able to receive and then say, okay, well, here it is again. Because I found that with my girls now, sharing information, sharing insights, sharing people, my network with them, and saying, and then having them go all around the mulberry bush,
then come back,
and then we have a conversation, and I just kindly just say it again, just push it in there.
Right.
And then eventually it ends up working out where they, at least look into what I'm saying, because a lot of times I want to just do the opposite. It's just the nature of I want to find my own will. I want to find my own way.
Yeah.
But we just have to be there, because I had to get to the point where it was just like, I was saying under my breath, now I just told you that, right? I told you that before. But we got to still keep a receiving.
Yeah. Making that, and right. So that's what I love about the family meetings is it's like, you, of course, you can develop your own relationships, but I want you to know, because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
You don't know that you need these kinds of connections and this kind of network. You don't know who does what until you have a need for it, right? And so I want to say that that's the part of the openness of that when we talk about the great wealth transfer, the desire to be in a position to receive it.
And we have to be open to receiving it.
Oh,
and understand that it's going to be different than the way that we think.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And because the goal is for it to broaden, it shouldn't be within your purview. What you're experiencing, if we're talking about the great wealth transfer, it's not going to be something that you may have even thought about or even considered. And really, that's our position. We are prompting people, and the Bible talks about this, prompting people to good works.
Yes.
Prompting people to understand. And I believe it's in the aspect of broadening your purview, your horizons, to understand that there's more beyond what you see right now.
More beyond, you can't even imagine all of that as you expand your capacity. All that will come and fall into your lap, because you've been prepared those opportunities. So what does this receiving generation need to do when it comes to inheritance, or this great wealth transfer? And it's not just money. It could be a home, it could be a business, it could be whatever it may be. It begins now. Can you manage money?
Can you manage money? Are we going to have conversations? And that's why those family meetings are important.
Yeah.
How did you do this year? Even if you just have something at the end of the year, how did you do this year? Did you meet your goals? Where do you, have them write down, what you spent your money on this year? Just kind of giving that synopsis. If you don't want to do it, should get to the point where it's more often than yearly. But if you start it off with every year, where you are just kind of figuring out and just writing stuff down, because a lot of times people don't want to necessarily do it, but try to get them during the reflection time, the end of the year or the first part of the year. Try to reflecting on what was done. Was it done? Did it accomplish what you wanted it to accomplish?
Yeah. And if it didn't, what are you going to change?
Yes. What
are you going to do differently? Because I was talking to this young man the other day, and every time I see him, I just think he has so much on the ball. Every time I see him, I haven't asked him a thing, but every time I see him, he's like, "Ooh, when I get some money, I'm gonna call you." He's like, I said, "I thought you was gonna call me." He's like, "Yeah, I'm just embarrassed." It might be, many people say that. I don't want you to see. Like if you have a wound and the doctor's trying to look at it, and you're like, it's gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt
if I show it to you.
but you got to show it to me for me to help you.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell my clients too. You have to tell me, because there is attorney-client privilege. You have to tell me everything. So that's the only way I can protect you, if you tell me.
So
I can't protect what
hurt?
I didn't know.
So the hurt is the judgment.
It's a judgment, or it's just the fact that some people just don't want to say it out loud. If I owe this amount of money, or I made a bad decision, it's embarrassing, and you just don't want to. You just don't want to say it out loud, or you just don't want to disclose it. But I can't help what you don't disclose.
So think about the exercise you were just talking about, where we're going to have them. So in the workshops, I give them this 30-day track your spending for 30 days to see. But if you ask them, okay, write down the last pay you had, and what did you spend the money on, and if I can recall, if I can tell you, I don't want to tell you.
I want to tell you. I don't want to tell you. I was just at the mall.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you that. You
Yeah.
know, and it's just, but you can't help what you don't know.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
if there is a gap, if you're telling me that you got $3,000, but you just spend every month when you have the $3,000, you're spending it at the mall, and I'm looking at things and I'm saying, well, there's a missing $3,000, but I ain't gonna tell you what I spent it on. But we have to be able to talk about that. Okay, so did you need those items? Those are things. Those are conversations that we have.
Everyone has had to go through this.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, you're not by yourself. No one's perfect. But the point is, at some point, we have to, at some stage, we have to address it. We got to look at it. We gotta understand managing debt. And I think the key is to say it often, to keep saying it often, to say it, continue to say it, so that you, at some point, is the light bulb's going to go off, or the mindset is going to change. Because I can remember growing up and realizing that I need to pay my bills first,
Right,
before having fun. I need to pay my debts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I remember that first credit card.
Ooh, and college days, yes.
They called me, and I didn't have any financial literacy in my defense. And so I remember the person yelling at me on the phone, the collector, the credit collection person.
They have no filter.
Yelling at me on the phone and saying, why did you borrow that money if you didn't have a job to pay it back? I'm like, why did y'all give me a credit card and I had no job?
That's the question. Why you give it to me?
I didn't even know what this was. I didn't know how it worked. All I know is I was hungry, and they were passing out pizza. You get a whole pizza if you sign up for a credit card. And I was a college student, and I was hungry.
Yes.
Yeah. And so next thing I know, I had a credit card with a $500 limit that I could use anywhere.
And just start spending it.
I could use it at the mall. I could use it at the store. I could use it in the little mess hall.
Mm-hmm.
I could use it everywhere. And then they wanted me to pay it back, and I'm like, well, what money?
But see, those are the things that, from that standpoint of, and think about it when those things started happening to you in college. But sometimes it doesn't happen for individuals till later on in life, and things like that. So we want to make it normal where we're having those conversations early on. We're talking about the principles early on. We're talking about, this is why mom and dad do things this way.
Yeah.
This is the reason why we are requiring you to do certain things. Like I took my son to the store yesterday. We went shopping and things like that. So he is on this kick of earning money, and why he wants to earn money. And but we're oftentimes going over with him the principles of, okay, now if you spend this on this, later on, you're not going to have enough money for that.
Yeah.
Right? So just giving him those little nuggets and those principle things for, if you try to save up for this, then you can't get that Lego set today. If you save it up for your PS5,
gratification, yes.
then you can't get that Lego set right now.
What'd he say?
And he was just like, well, maybe don't get the $50 Lego set. I get the one for $25. I said, see, now you're thinking.
Okay.
Now you're thinking now.
Yeah.
Because if you try to get to this goal sooner,
Yeah.
you got to think about the decisions that you make. But it's just those principles of talking about money now, and don't wait until you have your family talking about money when it's time to make a decision concerning now that you're not there anymore.
Yeah, because
You wanna guide
family
them.
values do get passed on, in with intention or not. Money don't grow on trees.
Right.
Close my door. Air conditioner all
Yep.
outside.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Turn my lights off. Turn them lights off. When we get in this store, don't ask for nothing. Don't look at nothing.
Don't touch nothing.
Touch nothing. Those get passed along, right? We understood that. I understood that money don't grow on trees. And one of the things that I talk about now is when I meet with clients, because when I talk with people, one of the things that gets passed on is pay off your house. If you don't do anything else, pay off your house. Pay off that house is what their parents have, or what we've always heard.
Because that's been our greatest asset. So it's just, if I don't have to worry about that part anymore, then I can live comfortably. I can do that. When growing up, my father and my mother, when they got married, they went to Vegas for the honeymoon. Mm-hmm. My dad won a whole lot of money. And guess what he did?
He paid off that house.
He bought her a house.
Oh, he bought a house. Okay.
Bought her a house where she didn't have to pay for anything. But that was the major asset, because he was just like, regardless of what we do,
I know I can do this.
We got a house.
Got a house. Yeah.
We got, and so that has been the major asset, and that's what that was our financial literacy lesson.
Yeah, pay off that house.
You know, so now as I got older, I had to figure out that when we got our house, that it's not that type of thing. I'm like, so if I'm taking that principle, and I'm just like with my husband, like, okay, well, this is what we got to do. We got to just put all the money to pay off this house, when there's other vehicles.
Yeah, there's other vehicles. There is a consideration of, the interest rate.
And we have a great interest rate.
If that interest rate,
pre-pandemic interest rate.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And yes, I know what those rates were looking like. And you think about the spread between your investments and what they're earning, and you're in the green. And you get to use other people's money to live in this nice home and this nice neighborhood, and invest your money on the side. Invest your money, have that grow, but this house could pay for itself. The house could pay for itself. And so there's the opportunity to expand the financial literacy.
Yes.
Right? To talk about some new strategies and how to do things. And I talk about this all the time. People call me and they say, I need a trust. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me a little bit about why you think you need a trust. Oh, because I just saw it on Facebook.
Right.
And
somebody said it.
Yeah, they said I need a trust, and let's see where you are and why you believe that you need a trust. You may need the trust, but I want to make sure that you have an understanding of what you have. People think about one part of it, but there's that whole complete, comprehensive financial picture of, just because you have 7 bank accounts, you are not diversified.
You are not. That does not mean diverse. This means a lot of accounts.
That's a lot of maintenance.
It's a lot of maintenance, and you got to figure out that you don't forget about something. So that's the reason why we have these free resources. We have our estate planning toolkit checklist. We have our beneficiary audit, family wealth meeting framework that we have. All of these are available on our site. The asset inventory worksheet, trust versus will guide, executor and trustee guide. All of these things are to help you to be a part of this great wealth transfer. That's right.
And we want to make sure that you're in position to receive it, because if you're like this, it's going where's it going to go? It's going to go.
It's not going to go in your hands.
It's not going to go in your under your advisory, under your purview. and we don't want to miss out. And so that's why we're here. We want to make sure that you are equipped with everything you need to protect, transfer wealth to the next generation. I think that's one of the greatest things. If that's my life's work, I've done a great job.
We've done a great job. We
Yeah.
have done that. And make sure you visit our site, Wealth Advisors and Ricks and Associates. Come visit our sites. Make sure that you continue to keep in touch with us. Make sure you like and share this podcast, because we're providing a wealth of knowledge and we're making sure that you're a part of this great wealth transfer.
Yes, we want to make sure that it gets to where it belongs. All right, so we're signing off. This is Erica with Wealth Advisors.
And Urenia with Ricks and Associates, PLLC.
See you next time.
See ya.